for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Well, we'll come to order at the regularly scheduled common council meeting for July 25th, 2023. First order of business is reading and approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting dated July 11th, 2023.
I move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of the July 11th meeting as presented. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Number 3 on the agenda, due to the time taken and the workshop just last night, Mr. Fowle hasn't had an opportunity to review those and approve those minutes himself. So we're going to postpone the reading of those minutes till the next meeting. Next, and we'll ask Angela King to help with any explanations on the resolution for amendments to the 2021 CDBG grants. Angela, would you like to give us an idea? I think I saw her come in.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. Wait. Or Bill, do you have a resolution?
She has a copy.
There is a resolution here, yes.
Well, what's your pleasure? I know you're here to explain any questions we may have.
All we're doing, item number 4 and item number 5, we are going to switch some money around in that grant. We had a little bit of leftover paving money, a little bit of leftover admin money. We're going to switch some things around, and we are putting it all into Parks and Recreation park improvements, and it's to finish up Scott Avenue. We've been working on Scott for about a year and a half now, and we needed some money to finish that up. So we're moving money around to finish it up. And then number 6 is the annual action plan. I can't remember exactly how much it is because it's not on here. That's just to approve our new money that starts October 1st for the coming year. And what we're going to spend that on this year is admin money to help cover the costs of our consultants that we use, Urban Design Venture. We're going to pave 2 streets, Garfield and Russell. And sorry, I don't have it in front of me. Oh, we're giving Housing Authority money for new cameras.
Very good.
And that's it.
Great, very good. Thank you.
Welcome.
Mr. Fowle, do we need a formal resolution on these items?
Yes, sir, Your Honor. We do have formal resolutions that each member of council has. And as Angela stated, basically, we're amending the fiscal year 2021 CDBG programs, and we're amending the fiscal year 2022 CDBG programs, and we're approving the fiscal year 2023 annual action plan. And so there are 3 resolutions. I'll read each one by title, and then I don't think it's necessary to go into any further explanation than what was given by Angela. First, this resolution, it's a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Beckley amending the fiscal year 2021 CDBG programs. Second is a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Beckley amending the fiscal year 2022 CDBG programs. And the third resolution is a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Beckley approving the fiscal year 2023 annual action plan. Anyway, that they can be adopted at one time, I believe, all 3.
All 3 at one time. Okay, you've heard the resolutions and you've heard Angela's explanation as long as Mr. Fowle's explanation of the resolution. Do we have a motion to approve the 3 CDBG resolutions?
So moved.
Have a motion second to approve the 3 CDBG resolutions described. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign, that motion carries. Thank you. Next, budget revision for the FY 2023-24 budget. Mr. Trump?
Yes, sir. We're required by code to revise the general fund budget in July for the upcoming fiscal year. I provided that to each member of council. I emailed it to them previously. We looked for a small bump in sales tax, a little extra revenue. And as you can see, we've gone through several lines, primarily the recorder's line. and contingencies to find some extra money to put toward the police department budget. So those are the substantial elements of that. It all balances, which I was happy to see, and we just need council to approve it if that's what they're approving.
Any questions from Mr. Trump on the budget revision as required by the state auditor? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the revision as explained by Mr. Trump.
So moved.
Second.
I have motion and second to approve the budget revision as presented by Mr. Trump. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed by a like sign. That motion carries. Next, the fiscal year 23-24 coal severance budget. Mr. Trump.
Yes, sir. We're also required by code to modify do a revision of the coal severance budget to account for any monies that we anticipate coming in and any monies that we still have. Coal severance has some requirements on how you spend the money. You can't spend it just anywhere you want to. So we're looking at putting some of the money we anticipate getting into streets and highways, and with the other part in parks and recreation. Both of those are approved areas for expenditures of coal severance. And in this day and age, coal severance used to be a big number. It's not quite so big now. So we're just meeting the requirements of the state.
Very good. Any questions of Mr. Trump on the coal severance budget revision? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
The motion and second to approve the coal severance budget is explained by Mr. Trump. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign. That motion carries. Thank you. Next, we're down to old business, and the first order under old business is, I'll take the liberty here of introducing that, will be a matter of taking the $2,500 cross-board salary increase for the Beckley Police Department off the table. And with that, last night at our workshop, I was negligent in not inviting our controller and CPA, Jessica Chandler, to make a comment from her department on the financial situation regarding this proposed increase. So if there's no objection from anybody on council for Jessica to make a comment, I would ask her to do it. If there is an objection, please voice that now. We'll take a vote on whether or not Jessica should be allowed to say something. No objection. Thank you, Jessica.
First off, I am not a public speaker, I'm a numbers person, so,
You're doing well so far.
the first thing I wanted to address is you all had received an email earlier talking about our budget carryover that we received. We do carry over about $4 million a year in budget carryover. It's not 4 million per year, it's 4 million total that we've carried over year. And this is our savings in case we have a crisis. So this is if we have another derecho, if we have a road collapse, if we have another epidemic. This allows us to be able to fund payroll and the general operations for 60 to 90 days so that we can operate. It's our only savings accounts we have. And that when you're operating a $47 million entity, you have to have some sort of savings to fall back on, especially when you have 255 employees that are relying on a paycheck. So that is what that money is set aside for. The state allows us to carry over a little bit every year. So we do attempt to try to carry over a little bit, just to kind of have a savings account there. One of the biggest problems we have is our pensions. We had discussed those months and months ago. We've been working on a plan to try to figure out a way. The pensions are terribly expensive on us. This year alone, they increased $116,000. And every year they increase 7% more. And this is just on the police and fire pension. This is not on everybody else's pension. And so Billy and I are working really hard trying to come up with a solution for this because Our predecessors didn't leave us in a good spot with that. Much like our predecessors didn't leave us in a good spot with pay citywide. This is a problem we've all inherited and that we're all going to have to resolve together. So I'm good with the 2,500 really makes sense to me, just my personal opinion, because that gives us, and then if you want to put in a caveat of 6 months from now, let's look at it again, that gives us the ability to go in and find places where we can cut more money. If we do one big pay raise for one department, we have to cut from all the other departments in order to make this happen. And last night, we were fussed at because we hadn't taken care of our own employees. Well, if you're cutting my department, then I can't pay my employees anymore. So it puts us in a really tough spot. So I think that would be fair to be able to do the 2,500 and then have another 6 months. Let's look at it again. Let's see what we can do then. But let's take this in baby steps because 2,500, if we did it for just the police, we're looking at $146,000. If we, and this is per year, if we did $4,000, we would be looking at $236,000. If we did $8,000, we'd be looking at $470,000. And this is just salaries plus workers' comp and Medicare. Doesn't factor in the pensions and all the changes that would be there. If we have other departments that jump in, as you can see, the place is full of other departments tonight. If they jump in with a Me Too movement, once this is all done, 2,500 would cost the city approximately $700,000. If we moved it to 4,000, we'd be looking at 1.1 million. And if we moved it to 8,000, we'd be looking at 2.2. So those are some big numbers to swallow. And that's about what I've got.
Very good, thank you. Any questions of Jessica regarding her report?
I would like to say something. I'm kind of upset that the fact that this pay raise has even come to council's table. It really shouldn't have, because we have department head meetings, and those department heads, they have a budget that they need to stay by. And I felt like maybe like Pam's budget or Leslie's or Dee's budget, if it needed a revision for their pay raise for their employees, they should have brought it to the administration, visited with Jessica, and then through there, he or whoever should have found those pay cuts to give their employees the raise. That's how corporate America works. And I think if we're running this kind of money through our books, we should act like big boys, and we should play like big boys. If we were 3M, big corporation here, and you brought us that you wanted a pay raise to the board of directors, we would laugh you out of the room until you go back to your department head and talk to them. And maybe through their department head, we can give you a raise. Like, Dean, if you would have come to us and said, I got a $7 million budget, I need $500,000 more to go with my budget. What are you going to do with it? I'm going to give my employees a raise, and we can only give you $300,000. Say, okay. And then we come back, and then you say, okay, I can cut it. I can, instead of having 6 police cars, I have 5 police cars.
I may be wrong.
That's the way I see it.
I may be wrong, but I believe Chief kind of did something similar to that.
Out of respect, I did cut my own budget, and yes, there did, no other department had to cut their budget just to cover that.
He did.
And I did go to my bosses. Didn't come to council with that.
I didn't realize that.
Terry Hunter thanked you for that.
I did not realize that. In these budget revisions, I do want to make note that the police department account number 700 is a $200,000 increase in that budget revision. I did see that.
Any other comments? Okay, if not, Mr. Fowler, can you direct us on the Robert's Rules of Order and the logistics of taking this issue off the table?
Yes, sir, Mayor. It was placed on the table at the last meeting 2 weeks ago. There was a motion made, and it was a motion to table item number 3, which was on that agenda. That was the July 11 agenda. Item 3 was titled Compensation for BPD, Approval of a $2,500 across-the-board increase for sworn police officers. Now, to take it off the table tonight, there simply needs to be a motion to take off the table item number 3 from the July 11 agenda. And there needs to be a second. That needs to be voted upon by council. Then once that's off the table, then it's available to be discussed. It's available for motions to be made. There can be a motion at that time to approve the $2,500. There can be a motion made to increase that to a certain extent. It's a little different tonight than it was 2 weeks ago, because 2 weeks ago, the public had no idea what was going on. Figures had not been explained to the public. And I know it was proposed $8,000 during the meeting two weeks ago. That was what would be considered a material change in what had been proposed on the agenda. There is a number, and it's fairly subjective. There are numbers that could be considered tonight. If you're going to go to something to that extent, then it would take, in my opinion, a motion from this council to approve, and it'd take 4 votes to approve it, to place a certain figure on. If it's going to be that high of $8,000, it'd be to be placed on the agenda of the August 1st meeting. And then if that passes by a motion, it would be on the agenda. So tonight you can consider the $2,500, you can consider a lesser amount, or you can consider a larger amount, but it needs to be within reason, relatively close to the $2,500, because that's what the agenda item is that's being discussed tonight. So the first step would be for a motion to take off the table item number 3 from the July 11 agenda. You need a second, and then that needs to be approved, and then we can advance from there.
I would like to make a motion. We bring item number 3 off the July 11th, 2023 meeting, setting compensation from Beckley PD, approval of $2,500 across the board increase for sworn police officers.
Second.
Have a motion second to remove the subject item off the table. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Those opposed by a like sign. Okay, that is now open for discussion.
This is where we discuss the amount, or does that have to be voted on, the 2,500
They just vote on, they just pass that.
to bring it off the table?
It's off the table, so now it's open to discussion.
Okay, I personally would like to make a motion that we do not accept the 2,500, but I make a motion that we approve 8,000 across the board increase for the sworn police officers to appear on the agenda of August 8th, 2023 regular scheduled council meeting.
I would second that, but I think it's actually August the 8th as opposed to the 1st, which is what Mr. Fowl said. I would second that.
First meeting of August, so.
Okay, Mr. Fowler, we have a motion and a second. I guess a vote by council would be in order.
It is in order. It can be discussed or it can be voted on.
Any further discussion on the motion?
Mayor, the only thing I would say in response to, and I have an MBA in finance, so I appreciate Mr. Trump and I appreciate your comments. I appreciate Mr. Sofer's comments, but folks, this isn't a business. This is government. And every time you turn on C-SPAN, you will see the department heads of all of our governmental entities coming up and arguing for why they should receive an increase. And then you see a 4-star general get up and say, if you take this much money away from military, our borders are not going to be secure. In government, this is the way it happens. In government, we all expect folks to come and lobby for what they need. But the problem I would argue is we are saving money for a crisis. And the case that they made, just like the case they make against the criminals in this town, was showing us that there is a crisis present. And the reality is, if we don't address that crisis, we are saving dimes and losing dollars as they walk out the door to other opportunities. So thank you so much for your comments, and I respect every department head that spoke out. But that being said, I do think that this is the right course of affairs.
Any other discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second to schedule this proposed increase to $8,000 for action on the August 8th meeting. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by a like sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Mayor, I might point out now that does not stop discussion on the $2,500, which is on the board tonight. That could still be discussed. There could be another motion to approve some amount this evening. But they have passed now to be on the agenda on the first meeting of August, an item that would authorize $8,000 per sworn employee of the police department. But that does not stop any discussion. If somebody wants to have discussion regarding what now is before council also, and that's the 2,500 across the board, or there can be an increase or a decrease to that, or there doesn't have to be any discussion. It's up to council.
Any discussion on the topic as described by Mr. Fowle of the 2,500 versus some other increase?
I would just like to know where the money would come from within the departments. If we go with this $8,000. Mr. Trump has said 2,500, no problem. We discussed it last night at 4, and then to look at it again in 6 months and possibly have another increase to see if we could step this up to create $8,000 right now. Every department head is going to have to come up with serious cuts. And that means cuts in services, whether it be paving of streets, whether it be parks, wherever. Except I don't have a problem in doing it, but it's got to come from somewhere. As I had sent an email out before, our budget is set. We submitted it to the state. We have to stay within that. We can't print money. We can move money around, do internal budget revisions and things like that, but it must come from within. So in order to be a responsible member of council, we've got to look at that. We also have to look at the other employees. I feel they deserve something as well. So if we're going to do something, you know, we can all, as the movie said, show me the money, but it's got to come from somewhere within our budget. And it must be found within our budget. Whether we have contingency money laying around there or not. As Jessica said, this is money that is held in the event of a catastrophe. Had this money not been there, no one out here would have been paid after a certain point in time when we had the pandemic and things were pretty much shut down. We received minimal B&O. We received minimal sales tax. We could have easily closed the doors and laid people off. However, we did not. We were financially responsible in the years before to have this and have it available to us to present to everyone out there in paychecks, pension payments, pay the light bills and all. Fortunately, it was there. So I would ask, where is it coming from?
As Mr. Chief Bailey mentioned a minute ago, he gave a budget, proposed budget cuts to cover the cost. That's when he asked for the raise, he sent in a proposed budget cuts. That would cover the cost of the raise. So that's where it would come from, technically, with his
Within his
cuts.
department?
Which, from his department, yes. If it comes from his department, then no one else should be affected from the way I understand it, yes.
Excuse me, we're not open for public comments at this point.
From the proposal that was originally stated, yes, he has budget cuts for that.
The only comment I would make, and I don't want to sound like an old man with a fuzzy head, although that could be partially true. I've been with the city in one form or another as a city council person for 22 years, as a recorder treasurer for 1.5 years, and as a mayor now for 7 years. And this is the first time, I think, I know in my service to the city of Beckley, that a council has blatantly disagreed with the recommendations of our finance people, our recorder treasurer, our controller, to do something like this. So if council is proud of this, then hooray. If going forward, it proves that it was not a prudent thing to do, then that's on you. And that's all I'll say. Any other comments?
Mayor, I do want mention so that nobody misunderstands when this meeting ends tonight, that on the agenda next time will be the item that will state approval of an $8,000 across the board increase for sworn police officers. But at that time, council would have the option to amend any motion made to approve that amount. So there, that does not mean that that is the only amount that will be discussed. You're not gonna be able to go up to 16,000. You're not gonna be able to double it, but it can be amended, and then voted upon. So that is the point that will be the starting point, most likely at the next meeting, but it can be subject to two amendments, which can lead to a different amount being approved, at that meeting.
Chair, I have a question. Billy, in the amount that the chief said that he would be able to curtail or move around, would those funds be able to fund, since we're looking at $470,000?
Well, a lot of the savings the chief alluded to are through attrition. And that is cutting the number of officers or not rehiring or refilling spots. Then there were some other cuts that may be practical, may not be practical.
When you spoke at workshop last night and you said there was some wiggle room, could you tell us where the wiggle room was as far as how you arrived at that we could do 4,000 and
Well,
it wouldn't be?
One of the things, we looked in capital improvements, and last year, I think we spent maybe $1.2 million in capital improvements for the police department, buying cars and things like that. I don't anticipate that we'll have to buy a new fleet of cars for the police department. But when we look at capital improvements, there are other departments that need vehicles too. So while we won't spend that $1.2 million, we will spend a substantial amount of it. I know Parks needs equipment. I know Public Works needs equipment. Fire department through the levy furnishes pretty much their own equipment, which allows us to buy some of this stuff. But there is, if we could go up to the 4,000, I felt comfortable there. Beyond that, we're in uncharted territory.
No, I have to, Kevin, what he stated is, quite a bit true. And, we can't be real naive because there is 250 some more employees out there that deserve something. So, the amount of money we spend on the police department, we have to spend on the other departments. Maybe not the same amount, but they deserve something. If we're giving raises across.
What are the thoughts about not continuing to repeat the sins of the past and having council, especially as we transition to strong council, be more involved in the meetings where decisions are made regarding payroll so that we don't, nothing is unprecedented, folks. We had a 17% increase on sanitary bill. So, we've been asked to make large percentage increases before when there was a crisis, like the crisis we heard when all those folks came up and publicly spoke about the crisis we're hoping to abate with this change. So, what could potentially, until we transition into strong council, what could be the role of council? Are we able to sit in those meetings, maybe give some input to one specific or some specific departments that?
I've heard Billy Trump say many, many times
Sure.
that his door is always open. And we have 3 council members, and I'm not going to name names, who avail themselves of that opportunity to come in and discuss what you're talking about with Billy. There are things about grant opportunities and matching funds that we need. But nobody on council, with the exception of 3 people, have taken that opportunity. So I think to really get the inside information from the recorder treasurer's office, from the controller's office, take the time to go in and discuss it. Do it one-on-one. You're more than welcome to sit in a formal bureaucratic type of meeting. But in my opinion, if you're here local in town, your office is right uptown, drop in on Billy and discuss the things you're talking about.
That's a great point, Mayor.
But our council, $6,000 a year is not a lot of money, but everybody up here on council make $6,000 a year. And sometimes I think it's well-deserved, and sometimes I think that it's probably deserves a little more input, a little more participation. And I think this is one area that requires that. So
I do too, Mayor.
yeah.
I think council should be more involved in setting agendas, getting financials before the meetings. Yeah, we certainly are going to change things next year.
Yeah, very good. Mr. Fowle, anything else to close this topic out?
No, sir. It will be an item on the agenda. It'll be an item that'll be subject to amendments if council chooses to amend, but they can act on the item itself. So that would be at the first meeting of August.
Very good, thank you. Anything else from any member of council under old business? Anything from any member of council under new business?
Yeah, I do have a question. Is the 10-year contingency plan, has that expired for the city?
Contingency plan, the comprehensive plan?
Right.
Yeah, we're working on a new one now. Yeah,
No, I'm thinking I'm at the Bureau of Prisons, because we use contingency.
okay, right, yeah. This is a comprehensive
Yeah,
plan,
comprehensive
and
plan.
it will expire, I think, in a year.
Right.
And Tori Lilly, our Director of Outdoor Economic Development, is heading up that effort and has already conducted some workshops and
Okay.
public meetings. So yeah, we'll have a new one. Yeah,
Okay.
Mayor, I have an item.
already?
I had a constituent call me. They had reached out to the Division of Highways. When you're leaving the Woodrow Wilson Auditorium and to turn left to get onto Stanford Road, that is not in their jurisdiction. So they suggested the person contact the county commission, and they did. And Commissioner Tolliver said to reach out to Sherry Hunter or the mayor. So I reached out to Pam Fry. Pam, were you able to find out anything?
Is Pam the new mayor?
Well,
I didn't know. I didn't.
as a council person at large, I did not.
Okay.
I'm trying to be witty.
No, you
I
said,
wasn't trying to be blatant.
you said that the Department
I
of
was
Highways said to reach out to Sherry Hunter
Hunter
or the mayor. And then you said,
Mayor.
Pam, do you have any questions on that?
Pam,
So
you could be,
I'm confused.
oh, are you?
Yeah, yeah. Any other, what do you want, a light there? Is that it? Is that the,
Well,
Bottom line.
I'm seeing what we can do with the city of Beckley, since that's not in the Division of Highways jurisdiction.
Sanford is the state.
Maintain.
yeah,
I will, yeah, the letter that I sent you from him, so we'll just go back to, we'll,
I mean, Woodcrest Drive coming out would be ours, but where it would be on the state route, it would have to be DOH.
DOH.
and I compliment our police department too, when we have big events at the auditorium, whether concerts or other events, they're great at coming out to direct traffic at,
Thank you.
so, and now too, I think that's been greatly relieved by the ability to go down and get on the Seaway too, down by ACT, but, maybe in time we do need a light there.
Mayor, I'd also like to remember a Virginia man who was a former member of the West Virginia legislature. She passed yesterday. Her husband, John Mann, is a local real estate person. So she gave so many years to the state of West Virginia, and her constituents in southern West Virginia would like to remember the Mann family in your prayers.
Very good. And along those lines, one of my favorite people and one of the quote unquote senior members of the Beckley Police Department, Al Gray, who passed away 2 days ago. Really a nice man who came back, I guess, in to handle, I know he's a photographer, but he also handled evidence, I think. Just a wonderful person. So like you say, let's keep Al and his family in our prayers. Anything else from a member of council under new business? Okay, we have a number of folks signed up for public comments. And the very first one is Mary West.
Well, good evening once again, everyone.
Good.
Good evening, Mary.
Here.
Back here, I've been looking at your smiling faces. And I have also listened to you guys tonight talk about our law enforcement. And that, $2,500, did you all do the math on that? It's about $1 an hour. That is so embarrassing. Because our law enforcement, in order for them to do a good job for us, they have to be compatible with their other counterparts, like the sheriffs in the states. Because it's not right. Whenever we call for help, who do we call? Don't call the sanitary board. I call law enforcement. And they come down, they sit down there, and they do what they can do. And even some of the cars don't even have radar in it. But this old lady, radar, grandma got one, and she's standing out there in next speed. So what I asked for before was a four-way stop, Deer Park and LaRue. Are we gonna be able to get that down there to slow that traffic down? Because right now it's a two-way stop.
Chief, if you had a chance to look at that. Okay, yeah.
And I would appreciate it because someone is gonna get killed down on that road there. And I mean, I'm not just being funny. We have those big city dump trucks rolling through there, and they can slow it down a little bit. When I brought my home, it was speed bumps out there. And the city removed them, talking about the city has to use this road. That's not a road, that's a street. So if I can get help from you all, and you all help the law enforcement, because they leave home every morning and don't know whether they're going back. But if we expect a good job out of our officers, pay them good. Because that's what is needed here right now. So I would appreciate anything that you all can do for our officers and LaRue Avenue.
Great, thank you, Mary. We'll see you on August the 8th.
You sure have it.
Okay.
Lord bless.
Mayor,
Yes.
say something. I just want to say kudos to Ms. West because she is, basically, she has put up signs all over her street and she is trying to slow down a lot of the speed.
And she has a radar gun.
Yes, she does. She was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to tell you guys.
Yeah.
Got to tell you all, we'll circulate a petition for our law enforcement and until they get that $8,000, we'll circulate it.
Very good. Thank you, Mary, as always.
That means she wants you all to come down the roof.
Okay, Joe Norris, next speaker.
Yeah, I have a complaint against Beaver Fire Department.
All righty.
On the 23rd, I was backsided by a fire truck and they treated me like I was the criminal.
I'm sorry, say that again.
They backsided me, they slid my car in the street. The fire truck hit my car
Okay.
and I was treated like the criminal. I wasn't moving, I was at a standstill, I wasn't at the corner, I was beyond the corner where he got some distance setting that on his lot. And instead of him cutting wide out, he cut sharp in and slid me out in the street. Instead of them, one guy pulled up and said, "Well, is you hurt?" I said, "No, I'm not hurt." Nobody apologized for me hitting my car or anything or talking to me about my car.
Did you file an insurance claim?
Not my suing claim. Not yet.
Did you report it to the city, to our insurance clerk?
No.
Well, you need to do that.
And
Captain Colgan, do you have any comment? Oh, was Beaver Fire Department?
Fire department.
Oh. I didn't hear you say Beaver. I'm sorry. You had to take that up with them, sir.
Ask him where.
on 3rd, when they was coming
Ask
out.
him about his hat.
Third
Where
Street.
in
Are you certain it's the Beaver Fire Department? I can't think why they'd be on Third Street.
The yellow trucks.
Yeah, that, we don't have yellow. Ours are all red.
Well, they was yellow trucks that came
Yeah.
out. First Street.
Mayor. Street in Beckley, like not in Beaver,
Third, yeah,
Third Street in Beaver.
yeah.
Yeah, you need to take it up with Beaver Volunteer Fire Department
Sure.
and the Sheriff's Department.
And Mayor, if I may, real quickly, I believe I recognize your voice. You may have called me.
Yeah.
Okay. Your insurance company will most likely fight this battle for you when you call them and require subrogation. I remember we talked about that briefly on the phone, but definitely call your insurance company. I know you're afraid of it affecting your rates, but they go after the other drivers and it's called subrogation. So don't be leery to contact your insurance company. And you have a time frame where you got to do that after the accident or you'll lose the ability to, okay?
All right.
Very good. Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Thank you very much, sir. James Watkins.
Yeah, I work for the board of Governors. And, figured not to, stand and say that we need to raise also. We're not by no means against the police department to get their raise or to get whatever they think is due to them. But in turn, we deserve a raise. We shouldn't have to cut back. I'm over the maintenance department and we need equipment that we don't have. And we need new vehicles that we can't get because if the police department gets their raise, we have to cut back. We've already cut back a third of our employees and still nothing. Ma'am said that $1 on the hour raise was a joke. Try getting 25 cents on the hour across the board raise and then see who's got the joke. I know that we don't defend the city of Beckley the way the police department do, but we also pave the roads, we clear the brush, we clear the roads when it's snowing. We keep everything else running. So I don't see where they deserve $8,000 and we deserve a quarter.
Well, in a lot of respects, Public Works is the face of the city. You are the people that we see at 3 a.m, when it's sub-zero, removing snow. We see you paving roads. We see you picking up trash. We see you at Beckley events. So I totally agree with you. So thanks for showing up. Howard Cox. We'll step up to the, yeah, that'd be good. Evening.
My name's Howard. I'm a supervisor with Board of Public Works. And I want to get something clear right off the bat. We're definitely not against the police department in any way, shape, or form. I was told this morning that I needed to watch my back, that I was targeted as the bad guy against the police officer. So that may not be true. It may have been a rumor, but I wanted to clear that up right now. We appreciate everything y'all do. I have law enforcement in my family. So I'm here to represent myself and Public Works employees. We're here to make a stand for our department regarding current salaries within the street department. I've been with the street department for 37 years. This department has always been least recognized out of all the departments. The street department does numerous jobs within the city of Beckley. Here's just a few of the responsibilities: maintenance, mechanic, carpentry, welding, fabricating, electrical, small engine repair, sign shop, which makes all the street markers along with the other signs, body work, community pride, trying to keep our city clean, various construction jobs, including plowing lots, or making parking lots, gazebos, fountains, just to name a few. And also, the street department is responsible for plowing and treating approximately 530 streets day and night, 24 hours a day, if need be, along with city parking lots, mowing outside areas and vacant lots. And if I'm not mistaken, we're the only city departments that pave their own streets, along with many other duties too numerous to mention. We are a self-sustained department, not much we can't do. If for any reason we don't know how to do something, we will seek out for help so the job gets done. We work well with all the departments within the city. We try to help any way we can and as quickly as possible if anyone needs our assistance, and other departments in return does the same for the street department. All the departments help us out. We call fire department, police department. They're right on spot. They help us out in any way they can, and we try to help them out in any way we can. With all this being said, I would also like to point out that we have lost a number of talented employees due to retirement, to better paying jobs. Some are even working 2 jobs to survive. Some are even eligible for government assistance because of low wages our department pay scale currently is. In my opinion, there should not be any man or woman working a full-time job in the United States of America and be eligible for government assistance. We stand to ask, please take another look at Public Works classifications and pay scale in comparison with other public works.
15 seconds, Howard.
And take those findings into consideration, bringing up the wages to 2023.
Very good.
And we do appreciate everything y'all have done for us.
And you made a comment about your teamwork with police and fire and all the other departments, certainly Parks and Rec. It's very commendable. And you never fail to show up and help. So that's much appreciated.
And this was definitely out of the box for me. I'm just telling y'all, this would be my personal last.
You did well. You did well, Howard. Dustin Potter.
I guess I'll go into a little bit more detail about some of the issues that we're having. I thought very carefully on what it is exactly I should say tonight. I understand that a common sense response lacks emotion and an emotional response lacks common sense. Don't misconstrue any of my comments as negative or a belittlement or some sort of decry. Someone wiser than me once said, the truth's like poetry. Most people hate poetry. With that said, we have a huge problem when it comes to pay in our department. It's a problem that's been around for years from what I've been told. They say that over half of the country cannot afford a $500 emergency, and I'm willing to guarantee that the majority of the men and women that I work with, including myself, can afford a $50 emergency. When I started here, I signed on at $10.50 an hour. August will be 2 years that I've been here. I'm up to $14.25 an hour now. Luckily, I'm single with no children. Otherwise, there's just no way I would be able to do things. I own my house, I own my car, so I don't have rent or a car payment. Personally, I take in just a little bit over $840 every paycheck. And I'm trying to live on that type of money. The majority of us have had, over the last, 2 years, have had to sell a lot of things we own. The $6,000 helped out, but the issue with that, and this is only my opinion, that's basically a $3 an hour raise we got for a year, and it was taken away from us. So the way it was broken up in quarters, what happened for the majority of us, it kept our heads above water. Right now, Tuesday night, I've got a little over 50 cents in my bank account to get until Friday. I have 2 licenses in asbestos and a commercial driver's license, and I work in the sign shop. So that's just some of the things we're dealing with. Now, having to deal with the emotional and physical stress of constantly worrying about how you're going to get to work. There's days that I go without eating. Tuesday to Friday, sometimes that's just how it is. Now, I went from, in 2014, making over taking home over $1,700 a week. And now I take home less than half in 2 weeks of what I was making then when I was living in the Charlotte area. Moved back here to take care of my elderly grandfather, decided to stay, one, due to COVID, but 2, because of the people and the atmosphere.
10 seconds, please.
That's all I've got to say. Just to give you guys an idea of what it is that many of us are facing.
Very good. Well done.
Thank you so much.
Next, we were promised that the president would be here tonight. And as I've said before the meeting started, the president is here. The president of the Beckley Babe Ruth League, Doug Lieber, is here.
Well, Mayor and everybody else, thank you for your time. And I promise to bring all good news and a little bit of asking at the end. So I took over as Babe Ruth's president 5 years ago, and we started a great journey to where it's ended up this year that we had a special bunch of kids. And this league has been there since 1956. That actually went through the state tournament, won. Then they went through the Ohio Valley Regional. They took on state champions for Kentucky, Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Wisconsin, and undefeated. And our head coach, Jamie Wilhite, part of the city police department, great man, great coach, done a great job with him. So we're been stoked with 2 teams, first round going to Ohio Valley Regional fundraising. Now we're going to the World Series, and it's something special they done, and we're looking a little bit of financial assistance to help us get our players there, our families there. They're going to go to Fredericksburg, Virginia. They're going to be there for 10 days. That's 10 days of hotel, 10 days of meals, feed the team, the families, and all that kind of stuff. And I'll keep it short and sweet, but we're just looking for some help anybody can give us. Anybody in the crowd, we have a Facebook page. Every little bit helps. We have a GoFundMe page, or not GoFundMe, but a PayPal page. We need every help we can give. And it's all going to go to the kids, and that's going to give them the time of their life. And they're representing not only Beckley, not only West Virginia, but the entire Ohio Valley will be on TV or on their networks, whatever they're going to do, representing us here.
Great. Well, you all have done a great job. Jamie's done a great job, and
Yes.
You and Coach Barksdale and Larry Foster have done an unbelievable job bringing Babe Ruth back to life.
Yes.
And it's much appreciated. Now, we'll tell the crowd too that Saturday evening, in conjunction with the car show uptown, we'll have a parade. Jill, you want to talk about that parade?
The Babe Ruth team is going to meet at the fire department at 5:30 and run a fire truck, hopefully with police escort, to the car and bike show that we're having. It's our summer car and bike show on Neville, all through downtown. We're bringing to Neville Street, and then we're going to recognize the team at 6 o'clock with some certificates at the gazebo there. And it's just a great way for the community to come out and support.
Great, great. Now, I don't want to put council on the spot. I will say that this is special. This is the first time in the history of Beckley that a Babe Ruth team has gone to the World Series.
Yes.
We did make a contribution initially. We matched the Raleigh County Commission contribution of $3,000 for the first round when the two teams went to Wisconsin and over in Kentucky. And I don't know if there is any thought this evening, because you are leaving on what, August 3rd? So
It's a short term.
so it's right around the corner. If we're going to make a commitment, I would ask council if there's any thought on an amount that we might be able to support this great team and our Sergeant Jamie Wilhite and the great job he's done. Any thoughts on that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We are looking to make, to get 36,000. That looks about $3,000 per family to get there to cover all that. We're roughly at 6,000 right now. We're climbing, but it's, it's a climb to get there by August 3rd. So that's why we're pushing so hard and trying every angle we can.
Mayor, do council persons, I've heard this rumor, council persons are allowed to elect a certain portion to perhaps a pet project or?
Well, I think, Billy, that you did, you started a program where council people would have $1,000 of,
What is it about? It's about $1,500.
about $1,500 of discretionary fund.
I personally be more
I'll
than
donate
happy to
mine.
pledge my 1,500 to this
Love it.
endeavor.
I'll donate mine.
I'll donate mine.
So that's 4,500.
Same mine.
Amen. Can I hear you more?
I think we're out of council.
So
We're
we're up
So you
to
got
6,000.
So that works out being what?
There's your 10 grand.
1,500 times 7.
I have to ask my son.
I think we're up to 6,000.
10,000.
10,500.
How much?
All seven. If all seven
All
get
seven.
1,500, it's 10,500.
Do we have a nod of the head from all 7 council members?
So moved.
Okay.
Go
God
back.
bless y'all. Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
You're welcome.
It'll help the boys so much. We
Great.
appreciate it.
Great job, council. Great job. Tom Taylor. Hi there.
I'm not much on this meat stuff. I will speak it.
All right.
We do a lot of work on that meat stuff. I don't think we appreciate it very much. Or money wise, not sure that we are a whole lot. Especially the people we got that we're working for right now. They're trying to help us out the very best they can and get us all the raises we can, and all y'all, I'm sure you're helping too. Not trying to knock y'all out of no money or nothing. But we do a lot around here. We trim these trees around here, cut these streets, we pick up your dead cats, your rats out the streets, we throw your fiberglass junk from all your, where you feed these people that's homeless out here out the road, off the street. And we try and help out the parks and recreation. their department. We do a whole lot for them and everybody. And we're all up and down through here. We're busy. We're sent from one side of town to the other side of town. We're undermanned. We ain't got anybody to help us. Y'all the only people can help us. And you're sitting right here looking at me. I'm doing it. These guys out here at works with you do it. Ain't nobody around here can help us but y'all. We can ask them about it. They can come up to and speak to y'all about it, but we're denied, we're ignored. That's pretty much about all I got to say about it. We're tired of being thrown down like a crap rag at the far end of the cornfield. Or I am.
Tom, the only thing I would say, and I don't want to disagree with you, but you're far more appreciated than maybe you realize, and that's sad.
I appreciate y'all. I've
Yeah.
never been to one of these meetings.
Yeah.
I thought it's all about coming up here and talking peace. I want to talk my piece. Really don't want to hear the words I got to say.
Well, maybe you better stop right now. Hey, Tom, you're ahead right now.
I
If you,
appreciate all these guys. Always follow and
Yeah.
always talk. I appreciate it.
no,
Really, we're like bottom of the.
we're going to, believe me, we're going to work on it. We're going to do it.
Somebody needs to step up, say something about it.
Okay, okay.
I mean, I get a little nervous in here probably to be high polluted.
I've never been called highfalutin before, but I like it.
Your name.
Okay, okay. Hey, Tom, we're good. We're good. No. We're going, I promise, I think you have support from 7 people up here, including myself, and yeah, thank you. Thanks, Tom. Danielle Stewart. Danielle?
Thank you for allowing me to talk. My name is Danielle Stewart, and I'm here to speak about money, numbers, because I'm pretty good with numbers. And, you know, sometimes it's hard to get numbers from the city. So I went to the state auditor's office and I pulled down the official city reports to the state auditor's office. And I just want to throw some numbers from the official city reports to the state auditor's office.
That's open to everybody. It's called OpenGov.
Yeah.
Anybody can get on the website to see that.
3.6 million surplus 2017. 4.8 million surplus 2018. 5.1 surplus 2019. $4.7 million surplus 2020. 1.9 million surplus 2021. 10.8 million in 2022. 1.75 million this year. That's a lot of money, folks. That's extra. That's after your salaries are paid. That's after every road's paid, everything's been cleared. That's extra. You want to know where your pay raise is? Go play a round of golf down at Black Knight. There's your pay raise. Your pay raise down over here at Fruits of Labor, where we paid $1 million for and then fully renovated a turnkey building. There's where your pay raise is.
They're paying,
it's the apartments.
excuse me, they're paying B&O and they're paying 1% sales tax.
Yes.
It's a revenue producing,
Again, these are your numbers, and you have extra that you're using for things other than taking care of city employees.
Hold on.
Again, and I've sent this to all the city council. If any of you would like these numbers, I will show you the links. The money is there to take care of our employees and our city. Choices are made to not take care of our city employees. We have a person in Public Works making around $11 an hour. How many of you all are living on $25,000 a year? And we're talking about the police? Hell yeah, they deserve $8,000. And Public Works deserves a minimum of $15 an hour, and the money is there. Let's not wait 6 months and buy a boutique hotel for somebody. Let's spend it on our employees.
we're not buying a boutique motel for anybody. Hey, Danielle, hey,
They asked me for $600,000 to help build that project.
you know, are you still chairman of the Raleigh County Community Action?
Yes,
Okay, we took that building off your hands to help you. Public Works came out to pave I don't know what we spent out there to pave the entrance to the homeless shelter. So we do a lot of things that you have overlooked.
The money numbers say the money is big.
Well,
If I may make a motion to adjourn.
Say the money.
Motion to adjourn?
well, hang on, we have a call in?
We have a couple members and defendants in the audience, but I do not know if they know how to read.
Anybody want to talk?
It doesn't look like it's a vendor and it is.
So I don't need to read the instructions. Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
To a show.
Good meeting.